When we lead with love, we carry it 24/7. And when we teach with love, we make sure our students don't forget it. To be black and to educate is to be superhero without the applause. It's to show up and show out no matter the cause. It's to play for the students no matter the winner. Because when we work arm in arm, the impact is bigger. Welcome to Untenured Podcast, where educators have a space to speak their truth. So tap in and listen to the very voices that mold our youth.
So blessings, YouTube community, and thank you for joining us for this launch to season 2 of our Untenured Podcast. As you know, here in our house, speaking your truth can never go left because it's your right. And today we are staying true to our New York City roots with an empire state of mind and kicking off this season back in the boroughs, the Boogie down to be exact, with this dope melanated soul. He's a PhD holding hip hop head with pedagogical bars. He's a galvanizer of group ciphers and a master of multimodal mixtapes, currently an associate professor of educational studies and director of the Hip Hop Culture, Equity, and Excellence Academy at Seton Hall University. He has that new heat for the streets, which we have already pre-ordered. His latest book is entitled Teach Like an MC, Hip Hop Pedagogy for the K-12 Classroom, and he began his educational career as a middle school science teacher in the Bronx. He has since exponentially grown his impact as the director of the Science Genius Program, a program that engages urban students in the sciences through hip hop, and is the director of the Science Genius Academy. He's been featured on NPR, TEDx, Huffington Post, NBC News, and the release of Volume 1, Hip Hop as Education, Philosophy, and Practice, was co-authored with the Chris Emdin, which brings together the veteran and emerging scholars, practitioners, and students from a variety of fields. His publications are rooted in hip hop as an essential teaching and healing practice in K-12 settings, as well as a way to actively and effectively participate in civic engagement. So we emphatically want to say, don't sweat the technique. Embrace this brother's undeniable blackness and brilliance. Essentially, he is a real one rooted in liberation and therefore a renegade. Never been afraid to say what's on his mind at any given time of day. And so YouTube community, put your hands in the air for our season 2 opening guest, Dr. Edmund Adjapong. Yeah, the crowd goes wild. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us on this platform. And so I just want to kick off, although I don't think it really needs any explanation. Tell us why you chose the title for our convo today, Undeniably Black and Brilliant.
Yo, self-explanatory.
Hello, hi.
Right? Undeniably black. I love my black skin. I love my black self. I love my black culture.
Yes.
And brilliant. We're not always taught that we're brilliant or shared that we're brilliant. So it's important for us to walk in our brilliance, right?
Absolutely.
Even we make mistakes, we have our own personal challenges. That doesn't minimize or dim our light or minimize our brilliance. So here we are, showing up and showing out.
Here we are, and you're going to see why after this conscious convo for the culture. Okay, so as a fellow hip-hop head, I'm not even going to play no games. I'm going to dive right in. What do you think about K-Dot's halftime show and him sweeping his 5 categories at the Grammys? Come on.
Kendrick. Always been a Kendrick fan, always been a Kendrick Lamar fan. And, since this whole Drake beef / controversy, I've been so much more of a fan.
Hello.
I appreciate Drake for what he offers or what he has offered the culture and for his hits. And he's undeniably like a hit maker. And, his place will be cemented in hip hop culture forever. But, there are a lot of critiques about Drake, that we can talk about and we can have conversations about. There's the one critique of him being a culture vulture, right? And is he putting on artists or is he using artists? What's the nuance? Is it a thin line in that regard? But also, I think Drake just being the artist that he thinks that everybody has to stand down to him, right? Yeah. Like he's the top, and he's a hit maker. And he can spit.
Yeah.
But Kendrick is that guy, right? I think when it comes to hip hop and we think about the nuances and the context of hip hop culture, hip hop is not just about rapping, right? And it's not about just putting good rhymes and lyrics together. To me, when I think about hip hop, I think about authenticity, right? Yeah. And knowledge of self and who are you and how do you connect your true self to your music and your art. But then what I love about artists, particularly Kendrick, and J. Cole and Jay-Z's is that we can see the growth and the development of that self as we go along in time, right?
Yeah.
Drake, I haven't seen any growth. I don't want to minimize. I just haven't seen the type of growth I would like to see from a grown adult man.
Yeah.
In hip hop. But Kendrick is that guy, man. Storytelling, narratives, symbolism, criticality, looking at himself, the self-awareness, the critique of himself in his music and his past albums. And I just love that. I think Kendrick is somebody who just does it truly for the culture, right?
Yeah.
You know, we're couched in a time and a space within hip hop where consumerism, is high demand, and everybody wants to just put out music that is easily consumable.
Yes.
I just love about Kendrick. I feel like he stays true to himself and he creates his own art, and we can consume it how we want. And I love that we've been eating it up.
Yeah. And so even in his lineup, he could have went with, his middle of the road commercial songs. He was very strategic in the ones he picked. But listen, that's a separate TED Talk, y'all. If you don't understand why that was a whole lesson in history and legacy and culture, tap in and find out in a separate episode. Okay. So wait, one more sidebar. Are you going to his tour with SZA? Are you looking to go?
I think now I am. I can't be going all these tours, man. These tours are like $1 million. They're like $1 million.
I know. All right, so we'll sidebar about that after. We'll
check that out. I definitely want to check out Beyonce's tour because I missed the last one.
Cowboy Carter.
I don't want to miss this one coming up. So
listen, it's a year of save your money because it's a whole top line first culture. All right, so as an ode to one of our favorite Black rom-coms, when did you fall in love with hip hop?
Great question. My first, like when I think about my relationship with hip hop, it goes as far back as like maybe second grade. I remember All About the Benjamins was out and such a big record, little old me, second grade me just rapping the whole song from top to bottom. And when I reflect on my hip hop experience, I think that's the time where I'm like, yo, this is like, I like this. Like this.
Yeah. And how it feels. Right. And I had no business singing those Little Kim lyrics.
Right?
But that's a whole I don't remember what the beat. Anyway. All right. And so when I think about even you talking about like the Kendricks, the Coles, the Jay-Z's, if you had to hit me with your hip hop Mount Rushmore, who's getting chiseled in the stone? I know Hov is one because you already told me. You huge.
How many we got? Like is it 4?
4. Oh boy.
Uh-oh. All right. So we got Jay-Z up there.
All right, he got Jay-Z. Okay.
We got Jay-Z. This we might need some time. We got Jay-Z up there. I could put J. Cole up there. Huge J. Cole fan.
Okay.
Huge J. Cole fan.
2 spots left.
I know it's tough. Like 2 already gone?
I know 2 already gone. Listen, it's your Mount Rushmore. So if you're like,
I know.
You can do 6. You don't have to.
I'm gonna put Biggie up there for sure. I love Doechii, and it's early, but I'm all about intuition, and my intuition. I have a good feeling about the woman.
And she's gonna stay true to Doechii. She's not gonna.
Yeah, because again, similar to Kendrick.
Yeah.
Super authentic to self.
Yeah.
And putting out really good, dope art. I'm gonna put Doechii up there.
All right. Now Doechii or Rhapsody?
I love Rhapsody's dope too. This is why. I don't even go around this whole top 5 conversation. I just tell people I love a bunch.
All right. He just likes hip hop as a whole, y'all. Question. We're gonna scratch that question. I was to see if you had to pick 4. Does it just roll off your tongue? This brother has too many, so we're gonna switch.
Too many. It also depends on how I'm feeling and who I'm listening to in that moment. But Jay's always gonna be there. Jay's always
gonna be there. All right. Shout out to Hov. And so back on the educational tip, how did you decide you wanted to join the ranks of the teaching force, let alone as a science teacher?
Yeah, I decided I wanted to become an educator because I had so many poor experiences in education. I came to this revelation when I was an undergrad. I was a biochem major at SUNY Plattsburgh, and I was doing it. I was doing well in my classes, and at that time, I would always go back to my high school and mentor students about and share my college experiences. And I realized that, you know, there are a lot of young students who were disconnected in similar ways that I was in school. So, you know, I at some point I was like, pharmacy is not for me. You know, I don't see myself, but, you know, standing behind a counter counting pills for the rest of my life. And, you know, I want to get back to my community, and I want to do something that's engaging and that's lively. And I thought teaching would be it. But what really made me make that decision, what pushed me to make that decision, was such a horrible experience I had in college with one of my biochem professors who would, you know, just study these things and you'll be good. And I studied those things and I wasn't good for the exam. But then, like, you know, it was really hard to like understand, comprehend, and connect to the content. You know, my goal and objective as an educator is just always to make science content relevant and connect to the lives of young people. So that's
she has to turn in like tragedy to triumph. And one of the things that I love that you're speaking to in season 1, she was episode 9. Her title was called Unbound. And she talked about K-12 public schools should not be a place that we have to heal from, right? And so I'm hearing that part of your journey of even deciding to become a teacher was rooted in some poor, less than savory experiences. And so as a New York City public school alum, when did you have your first Black teacher, if ever?
Yeah, I had my first Black. So like, we're going to talk about positive experience with a Black teacher, right? Because here's a new one, right? I love my Black teachers, but then also I had my first Black teacher. I was probably in the 5th grade, Miss Williams.
Okay. So let's say positive Black teacher.
So positive experience with Black teacher, probably high school. You know, I had a Black teacher, elementary school, 5th grade. I had another Black teacher, 8th grade, Mr. Dunn. Yeah. Okay. And these were not really great experiences for me. They were the type of educators who have particular perceptions and expectations for their students, and particularly their Black students, that didn't necessarily connect, and what didn't feel inviting or warm for me. Yeah. Like a true, authentic, genuine connection with a Black educator would be in high school.
And I love that you're pointing out that difference, because we even have a curated set of books here that we sell on Bookseum, and it's called #Food for Educators. And when we're giving a tour, one of the things we say is for the teachers who don't look like our kids, or even if they do, they don't have the same lived experience and aren't pouring into them in a very asset-based way. And we've got Ratchetdemic there. We'll be adding your book there. And so shout out again to pointing out that nuance, because all skin folk ain't kinfolk. How about that? Exactly. One other tangent. Did you peep New York City's new Black Studies curriculum? Have you glanced at it yet?
I haven't looked at it, but I know some dope folks at TC have been working on it, and I've been on some of their workshops. So I'm excited for what that looks like when it hits school.
When it comes out. All right. And speaking of TC, do you want to give like a little shout out or plug to the hip hop conference coming June 6th and 7th? We
got the Hip Hop Ed conference June 6th and 7th. So be on the lookout for what that looks like. We're doing some teacher training this year, which is going to be new.
Nice.
We're going to have the traditional conference on Saturday. So some special guests, and be on the lookout for updates and announcements coming up soon.
Well, a sister's registering, and if I can't get off, I'm gonna take off so I can in the presence of that dopeness. And so back to you, because it's all about your undeniable Blackness and brilliance. You'll shortly be releasing your newest book, How to Teach Like an MC. Any salient points you want to share from your book, or entice our viewers to cop their own pre-order for their own home library?
Yeah, like Teach Like an MC. This is my baby. This is this is my work of art. And this book has taken on a number of iterations over the last couple of years. At first, I was writing as an academic book, and that didn't feel true. And over my time in doing this work around hip hop and education and leveraging hip hop informed practices to teach, I realized that teachers really need like a workbook, something tangible, something that they can pick up and try some things out. Yeah. So what this book offers is it provides the historical context of hip hop, right? Mm-hmm. And it's for anybody and everybody, right? Because even me, within doing the research and the writing of this book, I've learned so much about the culture that I didn't know. Yeah, and a lot of connections in hip hop culture and teaching and learning, and how hip hop in itself is multimodal, right? And young people multimodal ways to engage and connect their lives to content. So we go that route. I make the argument for hip hop. I articulate hip hop that it's about love, joy, and liberation. Right. The love that we have for ourselves, our cultures, joy, that we just want to experience joy and triumph in a society that continues to oppress and historically marginalized people of color and people from other diverse backgrounds, and liberation, because hip hop has always been the voice of the voiceless. Like, how do we use this culture to liberate ourselves, right? To find opportunities to find freedom and escape the oppression that we're facing. from the powers that be. So, this book is super tangible. It provides a lot of, opportunities for teachers to try different things. And it's not just for teachers who are interested in hip hop, right? It is called Teach Like an MC, but MC is master of content, right?
Okay.
And I really want people to pick this book up and be curious. And I want them to like be open, because I think the book is really inviting. It was illustrated by one of my good friends, Robert Third Owusu, who's an amazing artist. And I was really intentional about making this book feel inviting and warm, colorful, imaginative, and have some really cool thoughts and practices and activities that we can just put and implement in our classrooms, tomorrow, next week, next month. But really pushing teachers to try something different to increase the engagement across our classrooms.
Yes, and we got to spice it up. You need some sabor, some flavor, some swag, some sauce. Like an MC. So we will have that on our shelves here in the Bookseum once it's live on our bookshop.org. And I'm thinking even that we'll add it every year. We put on a Juneteenth celebration. This will be year 5 with some dope rap for the community. We'll probably couch your book with one of our favorite Black-owned puzzles, which actually has an image of Kendrick Lamar. So I'll share that with you, and it'll be a giveaway for all those who attend this year. All right, so new micro segment. In the spirit of you being a hip-hop head, not my favorite group, but shout out to Black Sheeps. The choice is yours. You could get with this, or you could get with that. So I'm going to present you with 2 things. You tell me if it's this or that. You pick one. I only got 6 because we got real micro segments to chime in on. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So would you rather be the teacher or be the student?
The student.
All right. Would you rather be a dope b-boy or a dope beatboxer?
Beatbox.
All right. Would you rather read a book or write a book?
Write a book.
Okay. 90s hip hop or early 2000s hip hop?
Early 2000s.
Okay. Go back and meet your great grandparents or go forward in time and meet your great grandchildren?
It's a hard one. Probably grandchildren.
And would you rather be known for being a master MC or a master DJ?
Master DJ.
Really? Even though your titles teach like MC?
I know. But the DJ, the MC is dope, and the DJ brings it all together.
Yes. All right. So shout out to that. And so I want to reference again our dope guest, Shauna, who talked about K-12 settings, like I said, not being a place we have to heal from. Yeah. And in preparation for this conversation, I read your 2021 publication, Hip Hop Can Heal, Addressing Mental Health Through Hip Hop in Urban Classroom, where you launch with an alarming but factual data point that 25% of adolescents are known to be diagnosed with a mental health disorder. And research from the U.S. Department of Health indicates that half of all mental health problems start before the age of 14. So with hip hop being the most consumed genre of music by listeners across the world, talk to us about how hip hop based education is the way through and to healing.
Wow. Hip hop is all about healing. I think hip hop it was conceived and birthed as a mechanism for healing in the sense of how folks were experiencing the community. And how folks are experiencing oppression based on the social dynamic within the Bronx and New York City at the time. When you think about healing and why there's a need to heal, is that we have to acknowledge the challenges that Black people, people of color, people from historically marginalized backgrounds face and experience on a day-to-day basis, right? So there's an intention and need to heal. And I believe that hip hop offers a number of mechanisms. One mechanism, just like this idea of connecting and relating, right? There are a lot of folks, particularly educators, we work in a predominantly white dominated field. Yeah. So always having, feeling the sense to connect, very Eurocentric. Even as a student, you could be in a predominantly Black school, but your school is really all about the Eurocentric vibes, right? Yeah. Being somewhere on time, wearing the particular clothing in a particular way, right? So there are a lot of rules and policies that police Black bodies, Black and brown bodies. And I think hip hop provides this mechanism towards advocating for yourself, but also experiencing joy, right? This idea of how do I step back from my situation and what I'm experiencing and just take a moment. So this moment doesn't necessarily minimize what's going on out in the world, but we can escape for a moment. We can escape and we can connect with each other. We can engage in community with each other. We could dance, we could sing.
Yeah. And I think the I think of it too as like this reciprocal energy that's centered around joy. It makes me think of your boy Emden when he talks about Pentecostal pedagogy, like you offering this hip hop teach like an MC vibe to also give that reciprocal energy centered around joy and liberation. So I think that's super cool. Have you come across a lot of school districts that are embracing this pedagogical mindset, or has it been like,
I think no, yes and no. Like there are folks who want it for its cultural responsiveness, right? I think there are a lot of folks who hear hip hop and they're like, oh, my teachers are not hip hop, so how can they do this, right? And I just like, all your kids are hip hop. Like I've been to a Travis Scott concert. I ain't seen that many black kids there, you know. So it's super important for us to recognize that when we talk about hip hop is not. It's a culture created by Black and immigrant populations in the Bronx. That's solely for, or that caters to Black and brown folks and immigrant populations, right? White folks are the number one consumer of hip hop. So why not leverage this as a tool to engage, to support, and draw connections? And when we think about education and the challenges within our schools, like there are the stats for Black students are egregious and they're egregiously low, but all students, regardless of your background and your connection to school, experience disengagement. Right? How do we leverage this? How do we like take? And I make the argument in the book too, when I do these talks, that I can take hip hop away from the framework. You know what I mean? And it's still going to be an effective approach to teaching because it's multimodal. It focuses on engagement. And it teaches to the various learning abilities of all students, right? So you got the MC, you got the graffiti art, visual arts aspect, the kinesthetic learning aspect, the breakdancing. So it hits a bunch of different markers for all students to find their way to connect and engage with content.
Yeah, and to meet them where they are. So I guess one of my other questions is, has engaging and even inspiring this work cost you anything?
Has it cost me anything? I mean, I hustle and grind. So whenever you hustle and grind, you're losing something, right? You got to sacrifice something, right? Yeah. So there's always a sacrifice, but I love the work that I do. I lose some time out with my family at times if I'm traveling or if I'm working late. But I think all that pays dividends because I want my son to be in a school that acknowledges him and his culture. So if I can support teachers in doing that, that's the work I want to do.
Perfect. And I'm sure because again, you're Dr. Edmund Adjapong, Aisha Upchurch, who's the director of Hip Hop, the experimental lab at Harvard that explores hip hop pedagogy. And she talks about curriculumizing, not a word, but we're going to make it a word, hip hop and the 3 H's. She talks about being held, being heard, and feeling humanized. And why do you think, I know you touched on it a little bit, but can you elaborate a little more why you think folks might be hesitant to really integrate hip hop authentically into instruction when the center of it is around humanity? It's grounded in feeling seen and heard. So what the problem is?
Is everybody's implicit bias or explicit bias? Let's talk about that, right? Yeah. When folks hear hip hop, they hear Black and they hear all the negative and challenging stereotypes that come around with Blackness, right? So they hear violence, misogyny, homophobia, whatever. And I'm like, yo, American society is violent. It's misogynistic. It's homophobic. Yeah. And what I love about hip hop, so like there's an aspect of hip hop and a part of my work where we just focus on lyric analysis, right? Like lyric analysis. And what hip hop allows us to do is to bring in those problematic and challenging lyrics and perspectives and bring them into the classroom in a safe and inviting way, so we can have some critical dialogue around it.
Yes.
So but when you take a step back, the reality is a lot of folks they don't know how to manage those conversations.
Yes.
Or they're not interested in having those conversations or dialogues with their students, right? When we really take a step back from hip hop, it's all about humanizing, right? It's about bringing forth their perceptions and perspectives of folks who don't have a voice, right? Who have been historically pushed to the margins of society. So how do we humanize them and allow them to like a platform, which could be hip hop culture, to share how they're feeling, and young people connect to that.
Yeah.
Why do we not? The question is, why are we not bringing this into the classrooms?
Hello.
We know our young people connect to it because it's counter to what we see education as.
Yes.
it's a big reminder that we need to reimagine education.
And a big reminder to pre-order How to Teach Like an MC. It has tangible activities, worksheets, and things to help you navigate. So you're not whitewater rafting alone, no pun intended. But essentially, you are in community with Dr. Adjapong as he helps you navigate integrating this essential and crucial culturally responsive framework and pedagogical practice. All right. So I think I know the answer to this, but I ask every guest, and we're keeping some of the spice from season 1 and season 2. Name an artist whose swag matches your educational vibe. Like
swag?
Yes, whose swag. And you're allowed to Brangelina, like these two put together. That's Edmund's swag educationally.
Man, I want to say somebody, but they're just too controversial for me at this point.
I'm gonna ask you offline. You may not want to say now.
For sure. But whose swag matches my educational? Oh man, that's a great question. Can we come back to that?
Sure, for sure. It's your show. I'm not gonna put my brothers and sisters. Yeah, think about that for a second. All right. So then this one might be easier. Do you have a hype song? Because one of the fingerprints of our Untenured Pod, when you subscribe to our channel, you also get access to our Untenured Hype Song playlist. And every guest episode, their hype song is in a sequential order. So you would be song number 11. What track are we adding to the list? You dragging, you waking up like, man, I'm about to go in this district and plug this book, this vibe. Let me just pop this song on real quick and get my energy right.
Yo, I gotta be. This is gonna be cheesy, but this is my hype song. One of my hype songs that's coming to mind right now is "Show Me What You Got" by Jay-Z.
Okay, why is that cheesy?
Because I think it's a really cheesy and commercial song, but it's a really good song. I love the instrumentation on it. You know, and
the picking of like the horns.
Yeah, it's a really energetic song for me.
Well, if cheesy got swaggy, that would be that. So there we go. All right. So then one last thing. Can you share with us something that irks you? Like while you're doing this liberatory consultant work, if you could put out a PSA like, y'all, stop doing this in my presence. Or can y'all make sure if you're in a space with me that you're starting to do this more? Like what irks you?
Yeah. The thing that irks me the most is our closed-minded people. Closed-minded teachers and educators. I'm like, how can you, those two, I know two things can be true, but those two things cannot be true.
All right. So listen, if you close-minded, just go ahead and unsubscribe because he's not having it. He's not having it. All right. So for our first micro segment, we call it Oh Hell No. And this is our guest opportunity to get something off their chest, something that's in current events that is rocking them, pissing them off, and they want to just speak truth to power for a minute. And I love that Edmund chose this. He chose Republican billionaires advocating for Trump to bring in more foreign tech workers via the H-1B visa. Tell me why we're saying oh hell no to this.
Because it's like, why, this is idea we're going to bring folks in through this visa, and we're going to bring folks in for tech. And as a science educator, my argument has always been we need to focus on our homegrown folks, right? They are a bunch of young people, regardless of background, racial background. I'm not even talking about Black kids only, but like there's a bunch of young people across our country who don't have access to quality STEM education. So they will never be able to compete with folks to fill those spots. So I think it's just really annoying and irritating that we're looking for talent outside of our context in our country to fulfill these spots. But politics as usual.
Oh, hell no. So there are viable applicants. And if there aren't, what are we doing, like you said, to grow more local, homegrown versions of these tech employees who are very capable? Because last I checked, we invented half this ish, but that's a separate TED Talk. All right. So our next micro segment is Deuces. I'm going to present you with 3 harmful realities in education. Some you might have experienced, some you may not have. If you could, Dr. Adjapong, wave your magic wand or raise the fist and say, I'm getting rid of this one ASAP, because they're all harmful, but this one got to go yesterday. You tell me which one, and if I'm doing this right, they get a little spicier. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. All the Black staff are only the security, custodial, and cafeteria employees. All the Black staff are skin folk, but not kinfolk. Or all the Black teachers only teach remedial or non-advanced courses. Which one got to go? Which we chuck in the deuces?
Oh, man. All right, the second one.
Skin folk, not kinfolk. Yes. And if you were listening 20 minutes ago, he already told you that was going to be his answer when he talked about his first teacher. All right, I'm listening. All right, here's the next one. Being the only Black person at the decision-making table. Shout out to the onlys in the educational field. being the only educator to hold space for joy and hip hop in the building, or being the only one to speak truth to power and disrupt in the classroom?
The last one.
Okay, being the only disruptor in the classroom. Boom. Next one. Teachers who promote Black history but crush Black futures. Teachers who want to teach Black and brown students but aren't willing to learn from Black and brown students. Or teachers who celebrate compliance but won't cultivate genius. Shout out to Goldie Muhammad.
Goldie, they all gotta go.
Listen, boom, all of them are in the deuces. We've had guests say that. Don't feel no way about it. He said all of them. Apologies, Goldie. Yes, apologies, Goldie. All right, here's the next one. Whitewash curriculum, white savior mentality, or white fragility?
Oh, God. I think all those gotta go too.
All of them gotta go. You know, they're all this equally harmful. All right, here's two more. Being treated as a checkbox. All right, we got our Black hire check. Being kept in a box, the cultural confines. Yeah, you know, we want you to teach about photosynthesis, but don't put hip hop in it. Or being boxed out of opportunities for professional growth. So treated like a check box, kept in a box, or boxed out.
I think boxed out.
Boxed out, opportunities for growth. Okay, and this last one, which will be a forever question because we just love us some Shauna Brown. Schools with dope initiatives, but toxic school culture. Schools fixated on documents, pacing charts, and not humanity. Or schools that promote having school pride while robbing students of learning about their histories or knowledge of self.
The last one gotta go.
Listen, it gotta go. It gotta go.
Yeah.
We're promoting pride, but not my pride. So whose pride? All right. That was quick. That was the quickest one. All right. So chuck up the deuces. You just survived that micro segment. And for this last one, we know what it is to be in spaces. I'm sure you can attest to this, where you have to put your stream of consciousness or thought through a filter. Right? Not just for being tagged an angry Black man, but just in certain settings, no matter how you put it, you're going to be deemed a troublemaker. And so for this segment called They Say, You Say, it's your chance to clap back, unfiltered, expletives allowed, and say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Whoa.
Are you ready?
Name of fire, yeah. Let me stop.
Listen, so not like when I asked that other question, you were like, oh, I know what I want to say, but it's too controversial because I'm going to ask later. You know, I got a long memory. But for this one, say the first thing that comes to mind. Virtual pinky promise me.
I got you.
All right, here we go. So they say angry Black man. You say
brilliant Black man.
Hello. They say hip hop is not for school settings, way too explicit, messages of misogynistic thinking, and generally too mature. You say
open your mind.
Hello. They say Black males are best placed in disciplinary roles. Don't worry about being a professor or a principal. You say
change your perspective.
Hello. They say hip hop might work for Black kids, but then you're suggesting teachers use classical for Caucasians or maybe Latin music for Hispanic students. Like, what about Black kids who don't even like hip hop? They like jazz or country. You say
I said that's fucked up.
Hello, here we go. Thank you for dropping the F-bomb, brother. Okay, so they say hip-hop just recently turned 50 years old. It's too young in the game to be the center of a framework for education. You say
hip-hop is the culture of the world.
Come on. And you ready for this last one? They say your book, How to Teach Like an MC, should be banned. You say
How to Teach Like an MC is going to change lives.
Come on. Okay, so you just survived our rapid fire. Shout out to dropping an F-bomb. Thank you for engaging a little unfiltered clap back. And as a fellow Bronx brother, KRS-One says, rap is something you do. Hip hop is something you live. And so we thank you, Edmund, for living in your truth and bringing hip hop front and center in the educational field. Any last words or rhymes for our viewers?
Nah, this is the dope podcast and dope experience. Yeah, this is dope. I've done a number of these, and this is like by far the most enjoyable. So thank you for
we try to keep it fun. You know, it's Bookseum vibes over here. And so we love first here at Sadie's. We want to thank you again for being the first guest of season 2. Undeniably Black and brilliant. He just gave you a little sprinkling, a little peppering of why that literally is him through and through. And you know, I just can't thank you enough because you didn't know me from a can of paint and you signed up to get on this platform. And so there you have it. Dr. Adjapong, hip hop head, whole fan. And so we'll close with one of his lyrics. Mama ain't raised no fool. Put me anywhere on God's green earth and he'll triple his worth. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, it's bigger than a month. It's a mindset. It's a mindset.
Facts.
I got to put some Kendrick in there before we go because that's one of my favorite rappers. Is that okay?
Let's do
40
it.
acres and a mule is bigger than music. Come on. 40 acres and a mule is bigger than music. Thank you so much. Blessings. How to Teach Like an MC. Pre-order it now. June 6th and 7th. You're going to catch me at TC, Teachers College, Columbia University for the Hip Hop Ed Conference. We thank you so much for being in a community with us. Stay blessed. Stay woke. Stay beautiful. Stay Black. And stay brilliant.
Dope.
Bam.